Only in a Jeep? Hey, it's a Jeep thing. You wouldn't understand. So what are people talking about? Well, here today on Rumblestrip.NET and 10-minute test drive, we're going to dive into that. We're looking at the 2013 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sahara. To say that Jeep is an iconic brand is sort of like saying the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And throughout all of our years, with one exception, never really experienced a Jeep. A friend of ours back in high school had a 53 Willys, and that really was like Jeep in the old school way, in the sense that really wasn't much more than an old Army Jeep. I think it had a top speed of about 70 miles an hour. During the summers, we'd go in it, fold the top down, and run to the beach for the for the afternoon when we weren't working. So throughout all this evolution, has Jeep stayed true to its heritage? Do you understand why people are drawn to these vehicles? Are they worthwhile? There's a ton of questions to ask, and why are they so popular? Well, in our week with it, we've put almost 500 miles, actually almost 600 miles on this Wrangler Unlimited Sahara Edition. And when it was delivered with the soft top, at first we thought, oh, really, soft top? How noisy is it going to be? How crazy is it going to be? I guess there's some security issues you always worry about with any kind of soft top convertible car. And actually, we're glad that we got this version with the soft top, because in the first few days we had some absolutely beautiful fall weather here in Michigan. It was in the high 60s, blue skies, and we were able to fold the top back, not take it off all the way, but you can flip it so it exposes from the sort of the B-pillar back and drive, and it was great. I mean, it was glorious. We had to take a trip to Indiana, and we took rather than immediately just jump on the freeway to come back, we went on some older two-lane highways, the U.S. highways versus the interstates. And I can't tell you, for about an hour and a half, it was just an absolutely glorious drive. Is it the convertible experience? Was it the right car at the right time? Maybe it was a combination of all that, but I gotta say, it was wonderful. Now, the one thing we should say is that as an everyday vehicle, this Jeep is great, with one exception, which it's sort of a minor thing. Especially, in soft top version, it's a minor thing. In hardtop, you won't have the issue. But as an everyday vehicle, this thing is actually pretty great. It rides well. You have obviously an off-road type suspension, bigger tires with lots of sidewall to cushion it. It doesn't feel wallowy. It feels very controlled. The ride is very supple. I mean, not luxury car supple, but you expect something more in a four-wheel drive vehicle for it to be much more harsh, and it's not, which is great, especially since some of Michigan's roads, with all the potholes that we have, it's been, like you said, a bit of a joy, to be honest with you. The noise in this thing is actually not bad. With, again, soft top, you figure, well, is going to be a lot of wind noise. The fact that this is a very up and down, very vertical kind of vehicle, you expect a lot of road noise, and there is some, and there is wind noise, but it's not ridiculous. It's actually much better than we expected it to be. And when you fold the top back, it's fine. No real issues with it. The one shortcoming that it does show is the audio system, which, much like our experience with the one in the Challenger, you have to turn it up almost all the way, even normally closed top, to get any kind of real good volume out of it. And we'll talk about the audio system in a minute here. But as an overall driving experience, it's great. It's a little tall to get into once in a while, but you have a great view of the road. It's kind of splits the difference between, say, a half-ton pickup truck being sort of a high, and then a crossover sort of, a little bit higher than like your standard road car. This sort of splits the difference between the crossover and the half-ton truck. So you get a really good road view. It handles reasonably well. I mean, we're on a slippery on-ramp, off-ramp here, as it's just begun to rain. And 35 miles an hour, and it doesn't feel like you're on edge. It actually feels very well controlled. So this has been a nice vehicle to drive. It rides well. It's relatively quiet. I mean, it's no luxury car, but it's a four-wheel drive fun vehicle. It's not meant to be a luxury car and be quiet. We're gonna ding this on a few things, so we'll get to those little by little. As an everyday vehicle with the soft top, you only have the door to sort of get into without having to unzip the back window to get into, and it's a minor thing. I could see where it could be a pain in the ass if you have to do it repeatedly, but the door opening is enough. You can slide most things into it. You can slide grocery bags, you can slide backpacks, camera tripods, most things you can slide in there without too much of a problem. Now, if you want to load the dogs in, that's a different issue. It was just easier to open up the side door and load the dogs that way. If you have the hardtop where the whole back end opens, obviously it's much easier. Now the back seats do fold flat for the most part. The floor is flat, however, there's a relatively large gully where the seats fold down. It'd be nice just to have for them to spend the extra, I don't know, $1.50 to throw a carpeted piece of plastic over it to cover that up. It wasn't an issue, but I could see if you carry if you have dogs or cats or whatever, and you're carrying them in there, I could see where it'd be an issue that you got to be careful with so they don't get caught up in there. Powertrain wise, it's not bad. 3.6 liter engine seems to have good enough power. More power would be nice, but it's adequate. It's more than fine. Transmission, 5-speed automatic, feels very 1999, 2000. In an era where 6 speeds are the norm, and even Chrysler's got 8 speeds and even 9 speeds coming out now. 5 speeds seems like not near enough, and it doesn't sound like a big deal. Well, 5-speed, 6-speed, who cares? It makes a difference, and it draws us to, if we have one big gripe about this vehicle, it's the fuel economy. With a V6 and a 5-speed automatic, you figure it would get reasonable fuel economy. No. There are V8 half-ton pickup trucks that get better fuel economy than this. EPA on it is 16 city, 20 highway, 18 combined, and those numbers are spot on. When we went to Indiana, it was about 250 miles each way, and we were pretty much right on 19.9 to 20.01 or 20.1 on the fuel economy. Driving around just kind of general, we're getting about 18. In a vehicle, it's a heavier vehicle than you think. It's around 4,000 pounds. But that fuel economy is just, if it was a little bit better, and I'm saying like 18 to 20 in the city, 23 to 25 on the highway, I wouldn't even think twice about it. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it adds up very quickly. As we get closer, it's going to be interesting to see how Chrysler and Jeep deal with some of the fuel economy things as we go into this 2015 precipice of where fuel economy starts to get much tougher. What are they? They're going to have to add more gears. They're going to have to look at more complications as far as direct injection and other tricks, which will be a bit sad in some ways, because the great thing about a Jeep is that it's supposed to be simple. It's supposed to be not to be complex. A callback to earlier times. It would help with acceleration a little bit. Not like, as we said, it's not bad. It's just, it could be a little bit better. So fuel economy is one of the areas where we're going to really ding this thing. It's not good. But I guess maybe if you're buying into it, you don't care. The other thing we're going to really ding this on when we look at it is pricing. And again, this is one of those things that sort of takes a bit of a mind shift to get your head around it. As we're driving this now, not with a top-line stereo, but pretty well optioned in here, $37,655. That is a really good chunk of change. And when you have a Jeep and it's gonna be an off-road vehicle, you can't have super luxury touches. So there is a lot of hard plastic in the dash. The seats are leather, and it's a okay leather. But you sort of look at this and you go, 38 grand. You're sort of looking, I wouldn't say for the value, but you're trying to justify the price a little bit in your head sometimes. And it's tough. It really is tough sometimes. The flip side is it's so much fun to drive, maybe you don't care. And fuel economy, again, goes into that as well. So that's one of our big reservations about the vehicle. We haven't had opportunity to take it off-road, but why? Everyone knows it's a Jeep. These things are tested out in Moab and in places where you shouldn't be going with most vehicles, and it's fine. So for us who don't really have any off-road experience, to take it out and beat it and shoot video and show us jumping and, here, hold my beer, watch this. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know what you're getting when you buy this and its capabilities. Now, whether you're up to the skill of the vehicle, that's a whole nother issue entirely. Room in this is really good. It's one of the things we liked is that it is relatively compact as far as width. It doesn't feel wide on the road. It feels nice and compact, feels very controllable. You can place it where you want. Shoulder room, it's not tight. I mean, there's plenty of room here for two people across, two people in the back seat. Good rear seat leg room. Pretty comfortable back there. Driver's seat is fine. Would like to have a little more adjustability in the steering wheel, but that's a bit of a minor issue. Air conditioning, heat, they all work great. Stereo, as we said, the system that's in here, it's Uconnect, it's an older system. Pretty much hate it, okay? It's a pain in the ass to pair your phone. Some of the controls are not intuitive. It's a small screen. Its sound is meh, which, okay, it's a Jeep. You're not expecting like full-blown great stereo just because general acoustics. But the fact that you have to turn it up almost all the way to, if you want to crank out a song and jam on down the road, you're going to be looking to upgrade. So our recommendation would be get the cheapest stereo system, go to a good stereo shop, get a good system put in, and you'll be much happier, probably for much less money. The graphics on the navigation are very, they're not as bad to call them like, Nintendo 64 graphics, but, PS1 graphics for sure. So, like I said, that's another reason to look at other options. Get a iPad dash kit for it or something. iPad mini dash would be perfect. One of the things that we kept looking for was the windows. Put the windows up and down, and it's in the center, which obviously makes sense because you can pull the doors off. So it makes sense that the switches are in the middle here. Auto down only for the driver and passenger window. It's manual up down for everything else. Yeah, again, $38,000, please, come on. We've asked. It's the difference in switch between manual and an auto is, and I'm not joking, 5 cents. So really, you're worried about 30 cents here, 25 cents, please. So let's wrap this up. Would we spend our own money on this vehicle? It's a really good question. And we'll say yes with a couple qualifications. Number one, if we have to do any towing, no. It doesn't have really good tow. I mean, if you're just towing dirt bikes or jet skis or something like that, okay. And much more than that, no. Maybe a small camper. You can tow a small camper. Stress the word small. Fuel economy would be an issue. I'll be honest with you. Fuel economy is an issue for us. It's bad. it needs to be a lot better. Room, space, flexibility, hey, we're good. So let's wrap this up. Would we spend our own money on this vehicle? It's a really good question. And I'll say yes with a couple qualifications. Number one, if we have to do any towing, no. It doesn't have really good tow. I mean, if you're just towing dirt bikes or jet skis or something like that, okay. And much more than that, no. Maybe a small camper. You can tow a small camper. Stress the word small. Fuel economy would be an issue. I'll be honest with you. Fuel economy is an issue for us. It's bad. It needs to be a lot better. Room, space, flexibility. Hey, we're good with that. Fun to drive. Can take it anywhere. Driving it in Michigan, it seems kind of silly that, oh, you want a Jeep for the urban jungle. Well, believe it or not, with some of the roads we have here, yes. Because of the ride quality, because of the capabilities of it, actually this would be a very good vehicle for driving on a lot of pothole roads. $38,000, yeah, I don't know. And for we'd have to look at switching a few things. We definitely would want the optional hardtop for winter, but the soft top in the summer, yeah, definitely. The ability to take it off or just fold it back and smile in the sun as you drive along, yeah, that's really hard to beat. So, it's a Jeep thing. You wouldn't understand until you actually drive it, and then you do.